Seasons. Who doesn't love seasons? Seasons give us variety, and it's not the same old thing day after day for 365 days. But what are seasons? Seasons are times when the particular orientation of the sun to the earth is different. Because the sun is our source of life and energy on this planet, and our earth is rotating around it as well as orbiting around it, at different times, because of the tilt of the earth receives a different amount of radiation and heating. And if the earth wasn't tilted a little bit, we wouldn't have those seasons that we enjoy right now, because we would be receiving the same amount of radiation, give or take a little bit from time to time. That would make the difference in the temperature. And actually, in the summertime, we're farther away from the sun than we are in the winter. But because of that tilt of the earth, we get more radiant heat from the sun. So what are seasons? Seasons are part of our life, and they make our life interesting. We begin with spring, when the flowers come out and everything begins to have life again. The birds return, and we enjoy a feeling of life and birth. And then we go to summer, and we see maturity, where plants and everything is maturing and getting nourished. And then we get fall, where we reap the harvest from what we've sown during the summer. And then in winter, we go into hibernation or die. And the cycle repeats itself over and over and over again for as long as the earth exists. Now, the same thing happens in our own life. Yes, we're born, our spring. We grow and develop, our summer. We age and we mature and we reap what we've sown through our life. And then we winter. We go into eternal hibernation and death. Now, the same thing happens to us in our spiritual life. And Jesus sort of like tells us about this in the parables. And one of the things he said was that he told us about the sower who went out to sow the seed. And when he sowed the seed, he sowed it everywhere, whether it was going to grow or not. And you may say, well, why did he put it where it wouldn't grow? Because he wanted to give everyone a chance to grow. It was up to them to decide whether they wanted to grow or not. And he threw the seed on somewhat rocky soil. It didn't really take at all, and maybe just died if it started. And then there was some seed that fell on a metza kind of soil. And it took for a while, but because it didn't have the right nourishment or the right light, it also died. And then the seed fell upon good soil, where it produced 60, 80, or 100-fold. And the same thing happens to us in our spiritual life. We have a spring, summer, winter, and fall. In our spring, we're baptized and we're been given the option to participate in the love of the Father who gives us everything, who loves us with unconditional love. And we are like the seed that falls onto the ground. It's up to us to decide how we're going to nourish that. Some of us receive the seed and do absolutely nothing with it, except when it comes time to check a box where it says, what is your religious affiliation? And you may just check Christian or whatever. But there is no interaction between you and the God that loves you. And then there are those who may have a Christian education. They have spent their early part of their life actually going to church and doing things in terms of religious education, etc. But then you grow weary of it, you get involved with the material, and you throw away the things that are of the Spirit. And then there are those who accept the seed, nourish it, let it grow, have a relationship, and then let that relationship grow to something that is magnificent. And yes, we begin with our initial introduction to the loving Father. And then through our life, we're given the opportunity to have a summer where we nourish that with our prayer life and the good deeds that we do through our life and live a good person. We follow the tenets of our religion and we follow the message of Jesus. And we walk that walk and talk that talk. And we let Jesus form us. And then we get to the fall of our life, our religious life, where we see the fruits of our labor. And then we meet the final part of our life, where we go into eternal hibernation or death, and we go on to the next life cycle in heaven. Yes, it's up to us to use the seasons in our life to make us the best that we can be. God offers us unconditional love. He doesn't stop loving us. It's us who have the choice to make whether we want to accept that unconditional love, use those seasons of our life to the best of our ability, so that the harvest that we reap in the end will be a magnificent journey into our future.